Today's guest is Katya Komleva, who was left scarred for life following a horrible boiler explosion, which resulted in third-degree burns all over her legs and the loss of 9 toes. And what makes her story remarkable is not just her survival through the years of treatment and over 60 surgeries and learning to walk again, but it's how she chose to view this devastating accident as what she calls a happy chance rather than an unhappy one. And in our conversation, we explore how Katya transformed her trauma into triumph, eventually writing about her experience in her book, Accidental Awakening, and how she discovered that sometimes our deepest wounds can become our greatest teachers. Katya,
Right.
thanks for coming.
Thanks for inviting.
Yeah, I'm super excited to have this conversation with you.
Me too.
So we met once before. We both live in Mexico City. We've seen each other a lot around, and I got a chance to do a deep dive into your story. You have this book. What is it? Accidental Awakening.
Yes,
That's
right.
the English title.
That is the English
But there's
title.
also what's the translation in Spanish?
That's called Afortunado Accidente, and in Russo.
Unfortunate accident.
Yes, and in Russian, счастливый случай. I just mentioned it here because I'm a big fan of alliterations. So I wanted it to be called with the same letters, like Accidental Awakening, Afortunado Accidente, because my name is Katya Komleva, which is also an alliteration. So I just use this feature in the names of my projects.
Beautiful. So I want to talk about your accidental awakening. I think that's a really interesting idea. And I think when people look at you and they see you and they hear accidental awakening, they may wonder, what is she talking about? Accidental awakening. So give us a little snapshot of what that actually means. And then maybe we can rewind the tape and go back to the beginning.
Yes, I think that here I need to start with the exact literal translation of the name of my book in Russian, because this was the origin. And the literal translation is unhappy chance. Unhappy chance is a stable phrase in Russian, which we use to call some bad accidents, unhappy chance. So I decided to change it and call it happy chance. Because what happened to me was actually, yes, it was an accident. It was an accident due to which I've spent 2 next years in the hospitals and almost died and lost my toes. But the main idea of my book and of my life in general is that we give labels ourselves. If you want to label something unhappy chance, this ship of life will move on with this name, with this path. And I decided that I can label things the way I feel about them. And overall, I feel about this accident as about a happy chance that happened to me in this life.
Obviously, you have an accent. You're speaking English with a certain accent.
Yes.
People who've been around, you may be familiar with that accent, but you're Russian.
I am Russian.
And something happened to you when you were, 20 years old?
Yes, I was 20 years old.
So tell us a little bit about what happened. What was this accident we're referring to?
Yes, I can never tell about this accident just in a couple of words, because I've burned my legs from knees down with steam water of 90 degrees Celsius. I don't know Fahrenheit, sorry, but it is like steaming water, boiling water. And so it's impossible to explain in a couple of words where could I find so much, such a ocean, a swimming pool of steam water. So I need to explain. So what happened on this night of 15th October 2011, I was at the nightclub with my friends. The nightclub was called Gold. And I just arrived there, so I was there just 30 minutes. I just had my first glass of champagne, not finished. It's an important part because people always ask me if I was sober or not. For some reason, it bothers people. So I was pretty sober because I just had half of this glass of champagne. And at that moment, the DJ announced that the club is going to close early. That night, it was around midnight, due to some technical reasons. And when you are 20 years old, and you, like any person is 20 years old in the nightclub and hears about some technical reasons, you would never think about steam water being outside of the club. So everybody was thinking that probably the DJ setting doesn't work, or they don't have alcohol or lights or something like that. So there was not panic panic. No, there was no panic. I think that was the idea why they didn't actually explain that there was some accident. So all people proceed to the exit of the nightclub, and for some reason, I never win lotteries. I never am lucky with things like that. But in this line, I was the first person, just by chance, by accident. And I think these actually defined my destiny, the further things that happened. So the doors were closed and there were two guards. And I asked them to open the door and let me go. And my friends were standing behind me and they were talking to someone because it was the middle of the night. We are 20 years. So of course we are talking like, where are you going next? Are you going home? Shall we take a ride? Go together. So that's why I left alone, telling them like, hey, I will go and get the car, so please follow me when you're ready. And the guard told me that if you leave right now, you will not be able to come back again. But again, to me, being 20 years old, having zero ideas of the catastrophe outside, to me it sounded like I will not pass face control again. So I was pretty confident to tell him I don't want to come back to this place. I'm just leaving forever. And they just opened the door, which is a little bit of question to me because obviously I'm sure that they've known about what was going on. So they opened that door and telling my friend that catch me up in the streets. I hit it very fast, very fast. I talk very fast, I walk very fast, I think very fast. So this trait of my character also defined the further events, right? So I've seen that the floor was wet and that there was some kind of fog outside, which from my point of view was pretty typical because it was October in Russia, in my city. So
Can you describe what you would have seen walking out the door? What was in front of you? Normally without the fog, what would normally be there?
Normally there would be summer terrace of this same
Terrace,
club.
okay.
Yes, so normally you when you go out of this club, you go through the summer terrace, which has this form of, I don't know, this L form, right?
Okay.
So you just go straight and then right, and then you go through the big parking area towards the road. So normally I would have seen some tables, but because of the season, they already took away all the furniture from summer terrace, so it was just wooden piece of, I don't know, floor, right, and setting, and that's it. But I couldn't see nothing because of the fog, but also it was very dark, so it didn't surprise me or stress me that there is so much fog in front of me. I was sure that it's not, I didn't think that it would be so thick.
It's 2 a.m. too, by the way.
Yes, it was around 1 that, midnight, 30, 40, not very, almost around 1 a.m., yeah, so pretty dark. So I was walking very fast, and in some moment, I think it happened pretty much in the same second when they closed the door behind my back, and there was some step, not very big, regular step, and at the same moment, it was complete dark, and a pain that I felt for the first time. Before that, I was wearing very high heels that night, so I didn't feel the temperature of this wet floor. And in the same moment, so I felt this pain. But again, here I need to highlight that it's not what regular people who never experienced that call by the word pain. If pain is something we experience with our headaches, with our stomachs, something that everybody knows, this is something of a different origin, of different matter. You can't call it pain. It's something that can actually kill you, could kill me, and I felt it. So it was something extreme. Here, why didn't I go back? And I've written, after I've written my book completely, I still haven't answered to myself to this question. I've always told that because of the instincts, because when the body is shocked, you can't think properly using your intelligence. You think by your instincts. You either steal or run or fall. but it's not truth. And like my friend who was very much aware of this story, he told me like, no, sit down and write until this moment when you answer to yourself why you didn't go back. There was something deeper. And like actually this book helped me myself first of all to answer this question. And the question is that we act even in these difficult and shocking situations based on the experience we have by this moment. And my life experience and my patterns of behavior are always run first, think afterwards. And yeah, of course it was shock. Of course I was disoriented. Of course, like after I stood in this water, I turned a little bit. So at some moment I was not completely sure where exactly is back. And front is definitely where my eyes are looking at, right? So it was my decision. Also, another important insight for me is that being raised in a very nice and very caring family, I didn't have that many options to make decisions, serious decisions on my own by this moment. So left in the situation, in the circumstances where I had to make my decision, my own decision, without calling my dad, because sounds funny, but actually one of my crazy ideas was I need to call my dad to ask him what should I do. Like it was something very subconscious, but it's my pattern. It used to be my pattern of behavior. If I don't know what to do, I need to call someone who will give me some advice. Friends, father, mother, whoever, right? Teachers.
And you had just come from a family event before going to the club, and your dad was like, don't go, stay with us.
I was charged with this energy, yes, with my family energy. And my dad actually, like, we have a high level of trust. So normally when I went out, he never asked me to call him like when I'm home. But that night, for some reason, he asked me several times to text him when I'm home. So I was like, I need to text him that I'm not home and I don't know what to do, where to go, how to act. So yes, I made the decision myself, and it was important for me, for my recovery process, to take responsibility for this decision. Do not blame these guards who opened the doors, this person who put the wrong pressure in the tube, which led to this disaster, which I will tell later, like what exactly happened. Like it was very easy to put it on the shoulders of faith of God, right? That somebody like misled me and put me in these circumstances. No, it was my decision. I could go back. That's true. Did I want to kill myself? Of course not. Did I want to hurt myself? Of course not. But like sometimes we need to understand that even the wrong decisions we make based on our current experience, and we should not blame no one, including ourselves, for the decision we make, even if they seem crazy from a side. Like my decision to go directly to the epicenter of the disaster. Of course, I didn't know that it is the epicenter of disaster, but like eventually it turned out that I was actually moving towards the place where the tube was broken. So yeah, about the tube.
But you didn't know about the tube at the time. All you knew was you were feeling this sort of white hot pain. You weren't sure if it was cold or if it was hot.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And it was about coming up here to your shins?
Yeah, when it started, it was up to my ankle.
You knew it was water, though.
Yeah, like I felt that the substance is different. So it's not air. So I felt that I was thinking that it must be water, but it was such a weird feeling. It was hard for me to understand that water can bring so much pain, So, but like I thought that it might be water, but I didn't know. Yeah, you're right, that if it was too cold or too hot, it was just uncomfortable.
Hey, so a lot of you all have been reaching out with your guest suggestions. And look, I appreciate it. I do. And to help make it easier for those guests to say yes to my invitation, I need you to subscribe to this channel. Just hit the subscribe button below, and that's literally the best way to help me get you that guest on my podcast. All right. Thank you so much for helping out, and back to the show. You saw some guy, some shape in the distance?
Yeah, that's what happened. But before that, so like my plan, I still had some plan not to go back, but to go in front to look for these tables that could have been still there on the summer terrace. And I actually have a little scar here because I was testing with my elbows. And here, I've just told this story to one of my new friends this weekend, and I found some very interesting thing I want to share with you too. I've done this, and I've told this friend, and I'll tell to you, I don't know why I decided to like hurt my elbows, right? I already was there. I could touch it, with my feet, but with some instincts, I put my elbows. And this guy, he's like Wikipedia, and he told me, yes, because touch your elbows, you don't have nerves here. Can you imagine? Our bodies are smarter than us. I never known until like this weekend about this fact. But yes, I used my elbows to test, but there were no tables. So I kept on walking, and in some moment I understood that I have no other plan. Because by this moment I realized that the level of water keeps on rising. So by this moment I was up to my knees in the steam water already, and I realized that that was one of the the scariest moments of my life, probably. Definitely one of the most significant moments of my life, when I realized that okay, that's over. I'm dying right now. Like seriously,
This
like
is it. This is how it ends.
yes, not like, oh my God, this guy left me, I am dying. No, I mean, I'm seriously, like physically dying. That was a brand new feeling. And my last thoughts was that, like, I'm so poor my parents are. I'm so sorry. I feel ashamed in the eyes of my parents that they will tomorrow read news that some blonde stupid girl was the one was the only person who walked out of this place and died in the steam water, not going back. So yeah, I felt so ashamed, and I was thinking of them, that it's not fair that when we die accidentally we don't even have the chance to actually say goodbye to our beloved ones. So, but next second something happened, and this is still something mysterious about this story, because yeah, the wind has blown, and the fog was not that thick for a couple of seconds, and I've seen a figure of the person standing right in front of me, maybe like 2 meters. Sorry, again, I don't know miles, but it was pretty close. I'm 165, so it was 2, so not very long distance. And to reach this person, I had to go deeper up to my hips in the water, and I reached him, and I still have no idea who this person is. How did he appear there? This was a torch. So probably, thinking logically, he could have appeared there by entering from the black entrance. Do we call it black entrance in English?
Back entrance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but how did he got there? Maybe the door was blocked and he couldn't get back inside. But these all sounds like not very realistic, to be honest. But he obviously couldn't just go through the water and be there, because he had no injuries. So people recently started asking me if there actually was a person. I mean, real person. Who knows? I don't know, because never after this accident I've heard of him. Of course, I was a little bit busy next 2 years.
So he wasn't a burn victim.
No. Like I never after this accident I found him, because I was a little bit busy next days being in intensive therapy and everything, but he obviously heard the news, right? And he never reached out, and so I am not 100% sure that he exists. I'm not that crazy about these magical stories. I believe in what I see, mostly, with some exceptions, but yeah, the fact is the fact. I don't know what is his name, how he appeared to be there. But yeah, I've started telling him that we need to call an ambulance and tell them that the person is seriously dying here, so that they are moving faster. But the problem was that the ambulance cars were already at the entrance to this parking area, which they had to cross to reach to the place where we were staying with this guy.
And at this point, you knew you were burning. You knew it was hot water.
Yeah, but this moment I realized it was hot water, and there was another sensitive experience. When I got to this torch, I took off my shoes and I put my legs up, sitting on my bumps.
Yeah.
And I've seen how the tights, these very thin tights, that they are melting down together with my muscles, melting down my legs. So by this moment I realized that something really serious happened. I could literally see my muscles. So yeah, I was telling him please tell them it's pretty urgent that they need to come faster. And
you were talking to the imaginary man who may or may not
maybe
have
he's
been
not
there.
imaginary, I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe he
But you
really
just saw a
existed.
shadow, basically. You
No,
didn't-
no, he was a real man. Like
Okay.
I never doubted he actually was there. It's just like people recently started telling me, like maybe he wasn't there. I'm
Okay.
like, I would not argue with that.
Right.
I'm not sure. Like I'm on that side that I still believe that he was there. Just surprising that he never reached out. I don't know. Maybe he's an introvert, doesn't want these things in his life. So yes. So he was calling the ambulances, and they were like, "Hello, how are you? What's going on around?" And like, "I am dying here. Please come faster." But they couldn't. Yeah, and another interesting sensation in my legs was that the temperature of the air was, again, Celsius, sorry, we will translate later, right? But it was around 0, so it was pretty cold. So when I took my feet after very steam water, very like something very hot substance, to the very cold air, it felt like, I don't know the name of this metal in English, but some heavy metal is like filling up my legs. I don't know why I use this example.
Lead is the word.
Probably.
In English,
How?
yeah. Lead.
Lead.
It felt like lead.
Felt like lead. Whatever it means, I think it felt like that. Well, yes, but so the ambulance cars were already there, but they couldn't reach out to us physically because the level of the water was higher than the level of these cars.
Sure.
So another accident. That's why also I call this book Accidental Awakening, because there was so many accidents. Another accident was that saved my life, they're not even my friends. Some people who I've known from my university, like, "Hi Katya, how guys?" Like
Pavel and his buddies.
Yes, Pavel and his, like, actually was Dima and his buddies. I known only Dima. So they were passing by and they were making jokes and fun videos, seeing that this gold, like, name of the club is shining, and there is like this fog around these shiny gold letters.
Okay.
They're like, "Oh, finally this stupid club is burning," because nobody actually liked this club. It had pretty suspicious reputation, not the best reputation, but it positioned itself like the best club in the city. So like finally the best club in the city is burning, but let's go check because Katya is there. Right? So that's why they decided just to see and just to make funny videos. Nobody understood that something serious is happening there. And like Dima, one of these guys, he actually think he crossed, like, it's hard to explain, the landscape doesn't matter so much, but he heard me screaming when I was there moving in this water. So he told, and these guys, luckily they accidentally and luckily they had a big car, a Land Cruiser, Toyota. So they could still drive into this parking area, right? And like, thanks God, they are so brave and desperate, because we were not even close friends, but risking their own lives, they just drove there in this swimming pool full of hot water, just looking for me. And that saved my life, because they started screaming my surname, Komleva, are you here? I'm like, it's better than ambulance. Somebody is calling like me specifically. Yes, I'm here. So yes, they came, they approached, they took me and this guy. For this reason, I think this guy exists, because they would have told me that you were alone there, and they read my book. So they would have told me, like, Katya, there was no one there.
So did one of them get into the hot water to come and pick you up?
No, he didn't hurt himself. It was like a fast jump, so he didn't put his feet into hot water. They moved the car very close to the torch, so he stepped directly from the car to the torch.
Okay.
And put me. It was very fast movement.
And had the pain hit you yet, or were you still kind of numb from the adrenaline of the whole thing?
No, I had the pain never left me. I was going crazy of this pain, so it was always there. It just changed its matter, let's say.
Yeah.
Like the quality of its pain was changing from very cold to like this freezing cold air comparing to this hot water. So yeah, of course pain was there, but they don't lie about this adrenaline thing, because of course it blocks the pain. I mean, if now, no, I never wish to go through this again, but I mean, now my pain resistance is very low. When I hurt myself with like cooking something with burns, I'm like, how I could survive that thing, like people, like other people, like I think you've asked me before, like, this is like even to this kind of sensations. Yes, but like me myself now, or in the shower, I don't know how I survived this. I'm shocked. It's really painful. But at that moment, yes, I didn't felt that much because adrenaline blocked these nerves, and it didn't feel that killing as it might have been. So this guy, they took me to the ambulance car, and from there we started moving to the hospital. There was another like interesting. It's like also it's a funny thing because I always tend to diminish myself a little bit, like some people do, And that moment I was like, I'm like dying here, but they were treating some other guy who had some very light burns, and I was like, I'm like shy to tell them that I'm dying. Maybe he also has some bad bad burns. So even in this situation, I still was like, yeah, I would like to be more attentive right now. But
you're sitting like in the lobby with your
I was
feet
like sitting like this because it was
waiting for someone to
yes,
come?
in the line. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they didn't know, but I don't know what was wrong with that guy. But eventually, I found out that there were only 2 people in intense therapy, me and another guy, and this was not him. So who they were treating, I don't know. There were also 5 more people in the hospital, but not in intense therapy with some light burns. Mine were 3 AB and 4 degree. These other guys were only 3 degree, and others had like 1-2 degrees. So like it's like comparing to 3-4, it's a pretty light thing. So it's not doesn't demand being in intense therapy. So yeah, and I was sitting there, and the only lying position was busy with that guy. So I had to sit like this, actually, like how do you call it? Keeping my legs active. These muscles were pretty tired by these moments. I didn't want, but yeah, so I was waiting.
How far up was the burn?
Like the massive burn is up to my knees.
Okay.
So
your thigh was okay.
It was okay because it had burns, but it was very fast because I only had water until my hips while moving these 2 meters from to this guy, right? So all the other time I was only mostly up to my knees in the water for around 10 minutes. So yeah, a little bit of background about the burn. So degree 3 AB, B already demands skin transplantation. Degree 4 is when skin is dead, bones are dead, it's amputation. So my scars that I am wearing right now up to my knees, it's like a complete scar. It's not the skin with scar, it is a scar itself because it's a transplanted skin. All the skin burns completely. And I have my scars on my hips. These are the scars from skin grafts. So they took skin from here, and unfortunately my skin tends to have keloids. Keloids is the type of skin when not yours, like somebody's, my scar grow bigger than expected just because of the skin type. So like these scars were not supposed to be here, but to be honest, I like them because I think it looks like more organic to have them until my hips than to have like socks, So I'm not complaining. So in this car of the ambulance, when they finally gave me the space, gave me some morphine, probably what happened is that the morphine took responsibility of reducing the pain. My adrenaline was not needed anymore there, and my subconscious started to actually fade away. And this was another insightful moment, later insightful in the moment. I can't call it hard moment, just significant. It happened.
Yeah, they were trying to keep you awake.
Yes.
Because what would happen if you
I
drifted
felt
off.
that it was it, to be honest. I never faded. I have a very high level of self-control, so I never in my life faded, neither before, neither after this moment. So I don't know how to distinguish it's fading and this is already dying. But due to the circumstances, I felt that it's not just fading. So yeah, I closed my eyes and I started like to feel that that's it. And it didn't there was not light calling me somewhere or some devils or some demons. It was there was nothing, absolutely nothing, vacuum, like the condition you reached when you are meditating, probably. What I know about meditations. So absolutely nothing. And my idea was that, like, not my idea, like what I felt is that that's it. And I felt that I don't need to struggle anymore. And I felt that if I open my eyes, which was pretty hard movement, there will be a lot of work ahead. And I was like, but I can just leave it here. It felt already pretty comfortable. Yes, very lonely, but as these gurus say, we come lonely and we go lonely. So that's how it felt, Yeah, I'm living lonely. So in some moments,
Yeah, you kept saying, can somebody call my parents?
it was later. It was a little later.
Okay.
That moment I couldn't, like, I was not able to talk. I was like not feeling my body so much. It was feeling like
But you were there by yourself at this point. No one
no,
was.
with doctors. No, only doctors were around. And so, yeah, firstly, it felt lonely, but loneliness we can feel on our avatar, how I call it, on avatar level. Katya Komleva can feel lonely. Something inside Katya Komleva that makes Katya Komleva can't feel lonely. It just exists, right? So I felt like on that level of my existence where it didn't disturb me anymore to be lonely. I just felt like that's it. So there was some power that pulled me from there, and this power was curiosity. Like to what I can experience, feel, create, cry about, I don't know, taste, if I just stay longer. 20 years is not enough. It's nothing. I felt that, like, I just want to live a little bit longer. So this, like, I would love to say that love saved me to my parents, which would have been sweet. Of course it was there, but like 90% it was curiosity. So yes, later when they took me to the hospital, yes, you're right, I was crazy about calling my parents. They're like taking away my skin, and I'm like, oh my god, it's so tense. I'm so sorry for like leaving, for like the skin to leave me. And yes, I was desperate to call my parents. That's true. And I was begging the doctors, and they were like, we are busy here. Like, phone is not sterilized, so we can't like use our hands to do it. But I was begging and like, do you have children? Please, like, understand this. You need to call my parents. Why I was so crazy about that? Because I've understood by this moment that they will put it on use for sure. If not news, like my friends could tell my parents, right? Because they know that I was there. They know the contacts of my parents. And having this kind of love that I used to have by that moment and have now with my parents, for me it was absolutely impossible to be that rude to them, that's mean, to let them know about what happened to me from somebody else. They need to know from me, even if it will be a very bad message. At least if they learn it from me, they will understand that it's not that bad, right? So I didn't want them to go through this stress. So for me it was crucial to call them, yes. They did.
Okay. So you end up in intensive care, and your mom makes it by, and then your dad makes it by. Is that what happens?
Yes. So firstly, they called to my dad, to my mom. My dad was unavailable, and my mom came. And then, yes, later that day, my dad came. With my dad, it was a like worse experience for him, because I don't know, like, yeah, it's like a deep question, but they have just different personalities. My mom is like, she is like a meditation guru. She's like, everything happens how it should happen. My daughter is dying. It's a bad situation. I will pray for her. Of course, inside she was like going crazy, but like she has this energy and this vibe. And my dad, he was just having a party. He had hangover. like, and he just woke up, and I caught him with this message, like, I'm in intense therapy. He's like, nice joke. Why? I said, I have burns. Why? With water. How did you find water? Like, you are kidding. I said, no, come to the hospital. And when he realized that I'm not joking, he was in the hospital like 10 minutes later. I don't know how he managed to dress, to drive so fast. But before, I didn't know that. I only learned it like 3 years later, that when he came, I was like, my dad is here, life is good, because I was under morphine, let's be honest. I didn't realize how serious situation was. I was like alive and good. But the doctors met my dad. He asked my dad asked the doctors, when can I take her home? Because for him, probably it was the measurement of intensity of my situation. If I can take her home in a year, the situation is pretty bad. If I can take her home in a week, it's not that bad. But when they told him that, like, well, now she's 50-50, we don't know if she will survive. She might die any second. So for the next week, just pray we don't even touch her with surgeries, because she is too weak and she can die. And for my father, it was like until these days, like the worst moment of his life for sure, to hear this thing about his daughter without connection, even without connection, like it's something a parent never wants to hear about his child, right? So, but I didn't know. He came to my bed, and I was happy to see my dad there. I didn't feel that inappropriate, this place, when at least my family members started coming to intense therapy.
So today you're known as sort of this sort of body positivity advocate for someone who has burns, but I'm sure it took time to get to that place. So you were initially in intensive care for what, like 37 days or something like that?
Yes.
And I'm assuming you started having skin grafts and all kinds of surgeries. There was discussions of amputation of toes and potentially even your leg. So just talk a little bit about your mindset, as because you're a 20-year-old, beautiful, young girl. I'm sure you got a lot of attention, for your external beauty. But now you're in this situation where you're potentially facing like a lifetime of, looking different.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about how you were processing that.
Yes, I will start with the thing that my friends who've known me very good, they told that when they learned what happened to me, they're like, oh no, not Katya Komleva. Everybody will survive this, but not Katya. Katya is too crazy about her appearance, about all this stuff, materialistic stuff. Like, Katya will never make it. The last person on our list will be Katya. But, so it's surprising to me too. I do care about how my hair looks like and everything, and I have a theory. I will end up with this theory why. But I never had a moment of overcoming how do you call it? These insecurities about my appearance, considering my legs. Why it happened? This is my theory, that I've known at some moment that situation was difficult, and not only from the doctors, from the way I felt inside my body for this 37-day intense therapy, and I've heard this forecast that I will never be able to walk again. So by this moment, I was like, dear God, if I just be able to make it and I have my legs, like, already cool, So when for the first time I managed to stand up, which was like pretty surprising and magical even for doctors, and luckily it happened before I've seen my legs for the first time. So I realized that they still have their function, and there is still a chance if I can stand up on my legs, I think, and my feet. I think it was something around 50 days after the accident, which is pretty fast for this type of injury. For me, it was a miracle. I believe in miracles, really. And I felt what I felt, and not only physical thing, but mental background, like being proud of my body that it's capable of these miracles. So by the moment when I've seen my feet for the first time, my legs, it didn't matter at all, because everything I was caring about, not limping and being able to walk. Okay, first being able to walk again, and then not limping. And also, I can't deny that there is one secret that unfortunately I would love to combine it and some in a box and share with everyone who has body insecurities, but it's my gift of love and support of my friends and my family who are around me, This is a very lovely story how I've seen my scars for the first time. I've told my friends that I'm about to see my legs and my feet without toes. I've never even seen how does it look like the feet without toes. I never Googled it, so zero expectations I had. And when my friends learned about it, they were like, "We are coming. We will take some champagne. We will come to your place and let's make it like in an event." So like I was soaking my bandages in the bathtub of my father's house, and my amazing friends and my family members, they came. And when I was unfolding these layers of bandage, like about to see my scars, my feet for the first time, they were like, "New Year's 10, 9, 8." And so when I eventually like to the last layer, they opened this champagne, like, "Yay!" So it was like they turned it with their love into some like holiday and festive emotion. So I didn't have enough time to even look at this because I was busy hugging my beloved ones, you know. So this is like extreme level of love, and also love of some family members, not even blood family members, who were ready to give me their skin when they've heard that I will be having skin grafts. People didn't only just love me and telling me, "Katya, you'll be fine one day." They were ready to give me their skin to be left with scars. You know, so it impressed me so much. These people didn't care about how their body would look like when they give me my skin, and they were ready. The thing is that nobody can donate skin. It's only like donate is called. Okay, so like it's only self skin is the one that can be used for that. But anyways, it impressed me so much. So I never had insecurities. I don't know. People invite me to some interviews to ask me the secret how to overcome insecurities. I don't know. To me, the question how to accept scars sounds as weird as how is it possible to not accept scars? Scars are marks of a fight that you probably won, not you again, somebody, me, probably won. So no, I do care about appearance, about the things that I don't like about myself, and I can work to make them look better, like my weight, for example, my hair and everything, because hair is like if they look bad, it means that I eat bad, probably I have a lot of stress, you know, I can control it. But the way how my leg look like, my feet look like, I can't change it. And that's why there is this easy borderline. If you don't like about yourself something and you are able to change it and don't complain. If you can't change it, then don't complain, because we have what we have. And if we want to change something but you don't do this, maybe you don't want to change it, and you actually can like accept something about your appearance and just keep on living a happy life in this body.
Did the doctors talk to you about, was there some sort of cutting edge technology for skin grafting when this happened, and they could make it look as normal as possible? Or are they saying that, oh, it's going to be quite obvious that something happened and you're going to be having to explain that for the rest of your life? Or what were they saying to you in terms of how they could help you heal?
Well, these doctors in intense therapy, I don't know, in other countries, in Russia, the Russian doctors are the best. What I'm going to say, it's not to like hurt their reputations. They are really professionals, but they are pretty tough in Russia. All people in Russia are pretty tough, but doctors especially. They are like saving life. This is their priority. They don't care about anything else. They are not very emotional. They have this black humor, which I love, and like we always had these jokes between ourselves. But they didn't explain me much about how it would look, because also due to the type of these surgeries, due to many factors, the final look is something that differs from person to person. It depends on the age, on the lifestyle, on habits, on some genes. On so many factors, so it's like they can't predict it. Of course, later, and I would say that there is a separation between doctors. There are doctors who work with aesthetics, and those who work like for some death issues, and they are not like the same. Maybe in other countries they have some communication, and this is what actually I'm working on creating some charity project to have holistic type of help. But in Russia, it's like we say save you, then rehabilitation finds some other people. We just don't know what to do with this. Those who like help with rehabilitation, with movements, they don't know nothing about aesthetics. So it's like if you want, you will find physiotherapist. If you want, you will find some aesthetic therapist. I was never looking, because when it came to the moment when I could, because scars need to heal, and it takes 2-5 years for like. I have 30% of burns, so in this case, it takes like 2 to 5 years for scars to heal, until up to the moment when it's possible to touch them with some lasers and some things like that. So by these moments of 2-5 years after, I was like, I want everything in this life, but not hospitals and doctors. Okay, no. And now I could do it now, but I'm so used to these scars, and also it sounds very pop, but it's truth. Sometimes my scars remind me actually of the past I've gone, and my story, people say it is motivational, but who will motivate me from time to time? I get depressed. Life is difficult for expats in Mexico. It's like, anyway, so there is some stress, and sometimes I forget and I overrate, exaggerate some things that happen. But when I wake up and open the blanket and see my feet, I'm like, okay, I need to slow down, really. Like, I've been through a lot. That is not so important. Like, I could be able to walk again after this situation. So I don't want to get rid of the scars. I love them.
So what's interesting about this, you spent, I think, 2 years in the hospital. You had 5 surgeries. So I read your book, right? And I loved how you told the story. You told it through your perspective, and then you also told it through your diary, and then you also told it through other people who had contact with you.
Yes.
So you would tell this, you would describe the same scene through 4 or 5 different perspectives, which was really interesting to see. And from what I gathered, you would, make peace with whatever phase of the recovery you were going through, but then the toe would stop, the blood would stop circulating. You have to get that toe amputated, and you'd have to re-experience the whole healing process again and again, and learn how to walk again.
Yes.
And at some point, I know you say you're happy about where you are right now and you fully embrace it, but take us through how you got to that point with yourself, because you had to learn how to walk again, which is
several times.
Yeah, which is something that people, I think, don't appreciate who've never been through that experience. And when we spoke before this interview, you talked about, and you also mentioned this in your book, your dad kind of, he was playing this game where he would take your wheelchair and move it far away from you, and say the only way you can get to it is you have to walk to it. And I'm sure that was very frustrating, because I know you didn't feel like being in pain at the time. So talk a little bit about those moments and what actually had to shift in you in order for you to get to that point where you're saying to yourself now, okay, this happened for me and not to me.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there were some, ups and downs. I can't say that it was like I was slowly moving with some progress in terms of my physical and mental condition. Both were ups and downs, and I think one was the cause of another. So at first 2 months after the accident were one of the surprise, happiest moments in my life. I had so much love and attention, not only from people who I've known, but also since it was all over the news. I received a lot of messages from people who I don't know, and it was before the social media networks got so popular. It was before Instagram, so people they send me emails sometimes, just found my contacts, and for me it was a big surprise that people who I don't know. I was 20. I was just learning to live. I was living in my little world of good, nice people, family, friends. So I just was discovering that the world is bigger and people are nice. There were some bad comments, but who wants to focus on that? So this was like these months were great. They were full of achievements, of some deep connection, deep dialogues with my parents, especially with my dad, because yeah, like this girl dad a relationship for many people are a little bit challenging, even when the general vibe is nice. So like I was getting closer with my beloved ones. I was getting love, attention, some, I don't know, initial superstar Katya was like being in rays of this attention from media, from news. So it was cool. But Dima, the guy who saved me, he was the one who forecasted a lot my condition in the next years. Like when I was just discharged from the hospital, from the first hospital, he told me, Katya, now the attention to you will go down. And like from the superstar and girl from the news, you know, who managed, who is a hero of our city, you will be just disabled girl, you know, and live life with being just disabled, you know, not on news, not with all these people caring about you so much. People are getting back to living their lives. You're not in danger anymore. And I was like, yeah, of course I'm fine with that. I was not. I was not ready for that because yes, that was happened, and like I needed to go to university again. So after all this, like life-changing moments, I just need to get back and go to university. I don't mind like teaching or studying, but like climbing these ladders and going back to like normal life, not being normal still, like it was too fast. So yes, and these 2 years were like these ups and downs, as I've told, because I got to the hospital 2 months after the first discharge, and we didn't know. You know, if somebody told me, Katya, next 2 years you will be going to the hospitals, out, to the hospitals and out, and it's normal, it's fine, you know, I would be okay. But they told me like, that's it, you know, go and live your life. I'm trying to live my life, going to university, but then again another hospital, and this time I didn't tell to people. It was not on the news. Katya Komleva is again in the hospital. No, they were not like following me that deep on my lifestyle. So nobody came, only the closest. And there were not the crowds like the first time. There were few people who've known and who had time to still come and visit me. And then I was discharged another 2 months and again to the hospital. And why I was in the hospitals all the time? Because skin grafts didn't heal in the proper way. Normally it's like 75-85% of skin heals properly, and the rest has to be, in my case, replaced with new skin grafts. So the problem was, the more I walked, the more wounds I would have on my feet, the thinner the skin grafts get. I had to give my skin grafts time, like half a year, without moving, without standing on my feet, for them to heal properly. But in this case, I would have never been able to walk again because like of not having no movements. So I had to keep this balance between walking and saving my skin. I explained it so detailed to explain why exactly I was in the hospitals. Not all the people who have burns have to go to the hospitals. Like in my case, in some moment I've collected all the like bad side effects of everything I was facing. I had allergies to the medicine. I had like allergies to some bandages that was supposed to heal me. I used them and they were not healing because I had allergies, so they were actually destroying my skin. It took us half a year to understand that. So yeah, sometimes I got more motivated that like now like it will be my last hospital, but then again it's not last hospital, again not last hospital, again to the hospital. And sometimes it was against my will. Sometimes I lost my hope that these doctors or that doctors will help me, and then they took me to other countries. I was in Israel and I was in Germany, and there I was without any people. Mm-hmm. In Israel, I was with some relatives, but in Germany, in total, I was staying there for 6 months. 3 months, a little vacation, and another 3 months alone. And I was that lonely that I had some infection in my feet, that even the doctors in German hospital visited me in like these outfits that cosmonauts use. How do you call it?
Yeah, the hazmat suits.
Yes, in this, you know, and it was like illustration of how lonely I felt at that moment. I don't even touch the real people, you know. They even come once a week and just sending me like in jail this food to my room.
Why were
And
you
then-
quarantined in this way?
Yes,
Why did they quarantine you?
because I had some infection in my feet.
Oh, wow.
I don't know, well, maybe from them. I don't know how it, like I was in the hospital, not leaving the hospital, and there was this infection. I don't know how it
Okay.
got there, but we had what we had. So it was psychologically really hard. And my friends, by that moment, of course, they got tired too, and my family got tired. And my father, who was like, Katya, like I am like a mountain, we will go through everything, like you will be fine. By some moment, he was like, I'm tired too.
He was visiting you twice a day.
In the first hospital,
Yeah.
yes. In the second hospital, yes, of course. No, my father is a saint, really. He left all his life and he was just like mostly caring about me. That's true. But in Germany, he couldn't. Right? And he couldn't because he already lost hope. He was the one who told me, no, Katya, you will walk. You will. Who will walk? Katya will walk. But like in Germany, when I told him, Papa, they are like cutting away the muscles from my hip because I lost this movement in my ankle. And to restore that, they cut muscle from my hip. There are 3 muscles that are pretty much the same, so leaving one was not that bad. Taking one away, and so like. And I asked him, like, do you think I should take this muscle or that muscle? Explain him some context. He's like, are you serious? I have no idea. What shall you do? So I was like, okay, it's time to grow up, Katya. It's time to grow up. So for me, yes, it was difficult, but the core of my answer to your question is that, first of all, I felt that I was growing up and separating from my parents, and secondly, I was going through some trauma. I have like this like prioritization in my head and my perception, because not because it was a hard process, because like it was there and it was important. I was growing up, I was facing myself for the first time, I was facing myself in some new circumstances, I was facing with me making decisions, I was learning to make decisions, I was realizing how exactly do I make decisions, who am I? You know, this favorite question of all the coaches, who are you? No, really, who are you? I was like answering to myself these questions. And I started writing that time a lot, the book material and just my diaries. And I was discovering a lot of my inner Katya. Yes, Katya who suffers, who trusts, who loses trust, who again finds some trust. And I couldn't find this information in any other books because nobody was going through exactly the same experience. So surprisingly, of course it was hard times, and it's easy to talk about this like that when I already know that there was happy ending. But in that moment, on some days, of course, I thought that maybe I will never be like getting back to real life, to normal life. It will be all my life will be 3 months in hospital, 2 weeks not, 3 months in the hospital, 2 weeks not. And I was okay with that already in some moment. Like, okay, I'm still alive. I just need to like get used to this. So, and you change yourself when you think of your life in some particular way. It's a different Katya who can be successful and live in Mexico, and Katya whose life is jumping from hospital outside. There could be a rock star, you know. I would have used these 2 weeks just to have some pleasures, you know. So I had to change myself, to discover myself, limits of myself. How do I act? How do I react? And this was a very interesting journey and a very important journey.
Yeah, so I was reading your book and it's very detailed. And whenever I've read a guest's book or memoir, I'm not surprised that they were keeping a journal or keeping a diary. And so talk a little bit about that process. You're going through your healing process, and this is a way for you to self-reflect. How often were you writing? And was your writing style, was it linear where you were just describing what what was happening around you, or were you talking about your feelings mostly, or was it a combination of both?
So I started writing a diary. I started writing when I was 11. Mm-hmm. I told my mom I want to be a journalist when I grow up. She's like, start writing now.
Every day you were writing?
See, when I was when I started, it was like every week for sure. Mm-hmm. Sometimes every day, depending on like the activity of like events I'm going through. But so in the hospital, I decided to write it. Why? Because I was staying there alone in this room. I had no books in Russian, and in German I couldn't read. I can't read now either. And I had only one channel, Russian channel for people who are on pension. Like my granny watches this channel. You know, it's not the most interesting. I've watched this channel all day long, and I was tired. And there was no other entertainment, no connection, no social media by that moment still. So my friend told me, like, why don't you write a book like about this? Because if I just write diaries, I don't have this responsibility, right? I can write or I can not write, but writing a book, she told me, you need to send me 20 pages per day. See, I will control you. You need somebody to control. So I started writing it as a book. So pretty much, I have the same style of writing, whatever I'm writing posts on my social media or diary or book. I didn't change the style of writing. I believe that I live only once, and if I open myself to people in personal life or while writing something, I will not lose nothing. In the worst case scenario, they will just think I'm stupid or crazy or something like that. But okay, I'm fine with that. But like I don't. If I share something, I will share it how it is. I will open myself like that and like look. So for me, it was important to describe in a very detailed way everything I'm going through and how exactly I am reflecting, so that the readers could understand the not only like what exactly I was thinking, but the architecture of my way of thinking. I think it's important, especially if people use this book, those who are now experiencing some trauma. I can't just be this guru and say, like, these are 5 rules of Katya Komleva, how to be a happy person. No, you need to be Katya Komleva to live it like that. So I've tried to write this book to let people be Katya Komleva while they are reading. Like, I wanted to put the reader in my head. Whether it's stupid, my diaries, I'm ashamed of these diaries, yes, but it's part of me, you know, like I tend to exaggerate things a lot, but maybe who knows, it also helped me to get to the point where I am right now and helped me to overcome this drama, because yes, if it's drama, I'm deeply in the drama, but if I'm happy, I'm the happiest in the world. And so this tendency of exaggerating things sometimes helps me a lot, and it helped me in that situation too. So yes, my style is actually being super detailed and super honest about everything. Even now, like when I post something, my friends are like, what is behind the stories? What is behind? Tell us. Nothing is like, it's exactly how it is. You know, so it's my approach of living.
Hey, really quickly, if you like this content or if you don't like it, let me know down in the comments, because your likes and comments are going to help me learn what you want more of. And then that way I can keep bringing you the good stuff. All right. Thanks so much for your feedback, and back to the show. So let's say somebody's watching this and they're going through something traumatic, maybe physically traumatic, emotionally traumatic. How can they adopt that mindset to move through this in the most authentic way?
First and the most important thing, which was turning moment in my story, is to take responsibility about what is going on. Like later on, I came to this belief that I believe that I call it that nothing exists and nobody exists by me, not in a crazy way, but like, for example, we finish the interview, like I close the door, and like for you, I will not exist. You will not be able to know what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, like what are my emotions and feelings. You will only know about yourself. So why I'm saying it in such a detailed way? So if nothing exists, nothing bad happens to us, like we create everything. So doesn't matter how deep you go into this idea. I go pretty deep, but it's important to understand that there is nobody who is guilty, not a destiny, not a God, because people sometimes put this question, like, is it a God who controls our life or some superpower, right, that draws this path of our life and we just can't do nothing with that? It's my faith, it's my destiny, people say sometimes, going through some hard moments, or they say no, like I have my will. And My answer is that both, like take responsibility. If you are going through something, you need to go exactly through this, exactly right now, exactly in this way. So instead of wasting energy of analyzing how exactly I got into this moment, what led me here,
Or
am
what
I?
you could have done, or you should have done, or
Yes.
you would have done if something else
Takes so
happened.
much energy, right?
Yeah.
Or like, am I the worst? Like there were 500 people in the nightclub.
Why
Am I
was I the
the
first one?
yeah, am I the worst of these people? Or did I save them? Maybe I saved them because they heard me screaming and they never left. I prefer to think of the second idea, but who knows? Like it's not important. So people waste this energy on answering this question. My advice is to take responsibility. Yes, you for some reason created this right experience for you to go through some lessons to achieve something. So don't blame people or superpowers for the situation you are in, not you again, like me or like whoever is watching and needs this information. This is the first thing. Second thing, which is harder to understand, but it actually comes from the first, is that everything is a decision. Everything is a decision. Like let me take some easy to explain situation, like breakups. People suffer about breakups a lot, and like after breakup, like people say that, oh, it's so sad, people go through some hard times after breaking up. Okay, I decide if I call it hard time. Yes, I will go through hard time, or I can say thanks God I'm not with the person who is not my person, because my person will never leave me, right? We will find some ways. So it depends on how you call things. Even like going through like some hard situations, like mine, I decided that I want to walk. I decided I want to live a happy life, and like circumstances just turned out for it to make it happen, right? How could I manage to be walking again? Besides what doctors said, is it a magic? Yes, magic is here about deciding. Like we discussed this insight, and I want to like highlight it here. We discussed it before, that it is a decision to be happy and to be healthy. People sometimes, again, put responsibility on doctors, on other people. No, I was afraid to heal. I didn't want to heal, and it was hard to realize it. Why didn't I want? Why it took me 2 years to recover? Why not 5? Why not 1 year? Why not just these first 2 months and that's it? Because going back to this words of Dima, because yes, I was afraid to be just disabled girl from Ekaterinburg with not clear future, not that pretty as before, not that powerful, that healthy as before. I was scared to death. I told about university. Yes, I finished university. I had to work, just going to some regular office, doing some regular job, which I was not happy about. After all I've been through, I was scared about that. Going to the dates with the guys when they just been on the date with other healthy girls, and I need to compare with myself with somebody who is stronger and like physically more attractive. Like in all the circumstances, in all the like areas of my life, I was afraid to face new disabled Katya. For me, disabled was a bad word. And I decided to call it a bad word. So that's why I didn't want to leave the hospitals. Because in the hospitals, I was a patient, right? Patient, both noun and adverb. I was very patient, right? I was happy patient. I was patient with a good sense of humor. So doctors loved me. I loved doctors. They were my besties. We had some topics to discuss. What are there about new bandages? I don't know, like how the wounds heal, all these processes. So like we were in the same context of life.
Yeah. And you said that your friends who coddled you, who told you to take it easy and don't move around too much, they were less helpful for you than people who just kind of gave it to you straight.
True.
And said, no, you just need to walk.
Yes.
Stop feeling sorry for yourself.
Yes.
Get on with it.
For sure. This was like a
Slap in the
punching
face.
in my face. When once my friends were very careful with me. Are you okay to talk? Like, I'm buying new heels. Oh, sorry to tell. Maybe it hurts you that I'm buying heels and you can't. Like all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, thank you for caring. No, I'm fine, I'm strong. It was more like this vibe. And so once we've been to the nightclub, I still was going to nightclubs when it was possible. It was before one of my German hospitals, and I was with my friend, and I told her, please go and ask DJ to put other music. I prefer R&B, not house. And she's like, why would the DJ change music for you? I told him, tell him that there is a disabled person here. No, he has to and I was sure. Now it sounds stupid, but in that moment I was sure it's like absolutely okay. And then this girl, luckily she was not like, yeah, I'll give it a try. No, sorry, he like didn't. He said no. She literally she put some water in my cocktail in my face, like, I'm tired of you, and she just left running. And I'm like, why do you run? I can't walk so fast. You're so mean. She's like, no, you are mean. You are killing my good friend. You are killing Katya, not the disease. You know, I'm tired too. I care about you, I love you, but you are killing my good friend. Please give her back to me. This is like a drama queen. Okay, you had your year to be in this position. I appreciate it. We play this game. I don't play this game anymore. If you want to have friend in my face, just stop playing dramas. If you really suffer, tell me, I'll be there for you. But like seriously, asking DJ to put your song just because you're disabled, it's too much. So yes, I think it's an important advice for those who are next to people who go through something. So it is important to find this balance. Humor is very important. We had so many jokes about me not having toes. You can't imagine in my family still have these jokes. So humor helps. Genuine connection and support helps, of course. But if the surrounding treats a person like a victim, it's very hard to overcome this, because I have to overcome it on level of my personality, and also to convince people that, okay, now I'm not victim anymore. Because let's be honest, being victim is pretty comfortable. People care about you, they bring you what you ask, put your music sometimes, just because you are a victim. So it's hard, because now you need to move on your own and deserve like some attention just by your personality.
So healing is one thing, and that took you, many years. But also writing a book is a process. It's not easy. There have been many people who have suffered trauma and they didn't write a book about it. You chose to write a book about it as a part of your process. How did you transform throughout that process of writing your book? What did that gift you?
Well, I've written this book, first of all, yes, to have some hobby while I had nothing to do. But also, for me, it was important to write this book that would have helped that Katya Komleva from 2011 to 2013. If she had read this book, that this book would have helped her. So I was writing for that person this book. So how I changed personally? No, but first of all, of course, I reflected a lot about my patterns about different areas of my life. Also, it was a good excuse to ask for the first time and during all these years of my rehabilitation, ask people, how did you feel? I was too busy. I never asked my dad how did he feel, because for me it was obvious that he is a robot and he has no feelings. He only has a goal to help me to feel better. I didn't even think that this question existed. So I had this chance to actually start these conversations with people who were next to me. They were going through some serious challenges themselves, and in some points it can be comparable what they were going through and I don't even think that it's honest to compare somebody's pain. Pain is there, pain was there. So yeah, it helped me to connect deeper with my beloved people, to give them my apologize, to give them to go through some events and rewrite them. Because psychologists say that sometimes it's not that important that you fix something in your present time. You can go back to some hurtful experience and you can rewrite this experience. Like, for example, I had a fight with my dad, so I could come to him and tell him, remember what I've said? If I was there now, I would have told it in a different way. That's what I would have told you. And our brain, our psychological tools can actually rewrite these memories, and he will never be triggered by that argument anymore. That's what my psychologist says. I believe her. So we can change these experiences. So for me, it was important to, yes, to apologize, to rewrite these bad experiences, the situations when I was mean with people that I love a lot, with my family members. And yes, and just to understand myself better. And it's a process. I'm changing every year. I'm growing up. I'm getting more mature. So for me, it was the most insightful results of writing this book was to let myself fuck off myself and let myself just grow up the way I grow up. I do mistakes, but again, as we've already discussed, these are not mistakes. So just be more chill about myself and be more like connected to myself and yes, and to people who I love.
So there's a lot of pain and suffering in the world, and having gone through what you've gone through and gotten to the other side of that, has it made you more sensitive to other people's pain when you see conflict, when you read headlines about war and all kinds of crazy stuff happening all around? Or how do you see that? How do you process that?
It's a very interesting question. I never thought of that, like answering somebody's question, but I have direct answer and not. It got me more cynic. I feel less sensitive about this. Why? But no, not why, but it helps me to create my charity project. So when I started doing this charity project, I've asked people to send me their stories of what they are going through. And you can't imagine what people are going through. My story is nothing, like nothing comparing like how I feel about that. But reading these stories, I realized that maybe I've lost it, maybe I just changed. But I read it not as like, oh my God, I don't like associate myself with this person. I read it analyzing how exactly I can help. I like detect the problems that I see in this or that story. Mm-hmm. I read emotions. I just don't get involved into these emotions. They are there. They have to be there. They are humans. We are humans. We go through emotions. This person describes emotion with these words. That's it, and then I just read and make my summaries like, okay, the problem is, the treatment was, now the goal is, and I start helping based on like these 3 short sentences. And like when I see all these other bad things happening, I'm very like, what doesn't help, I'm very, very sensitive with animals. This I got worse after I got my dog. I can't watch animals suffer. But with people, again, I think this belief helps me to like be more cynic in a good way, that if somebody goes through something, I would say congratulations, because you are going through another lesson, because you will not achieve new levels, probably not going through something. You decide how deep the degree of that will be, but in the end of the day, congratulations with having bad times. You're growing. Of course, I can't say it when talking about wars or when people are like losing parts of their bodies. It's hard to apply this positive way of thinking, but the core is the same. Of course, I wish the world would be like a happier and more peaceful place, but for some reason, we, humanity in general, as I believe, and people who participate, who are involved, need to go through exactly what we are going through right now.
And what's your charity called?
It's called Scar Positive, like body positive, but Scar Positive. Because again, as I've told before, I don't believe in body positive. Sorry for those who might feel hurt about that. I just believe that everybody has the right to look the way they want, that's for sure. But again, what I don't like about body positive, that for some people it's an excuse to suffer. Mm. Right, I am against suffering. So yeah, if we like however the body looks like, if you are happy about this, I have 0 problems with that, with both like talking to this person, like having my impression of this person, like, and I just wish this person to be happy with whoever they are. And yes, but Scar Positive is different. It's again, let's get better in all the ways we can get better, and we feel that we want to get better. Right? But let's not care about something that we can't change. This is the idea.
How do people get information about Scar Positive?
I'm in the process right now. I've had this charity project in Russia, and I had support of my friends, influencers from media, because since my story was widely spread in the news, I could reach out to like the same people, and they helped me to spread the word about the charity. But magical thing. That I never had more like patients, clients than I could handle at that moment, and I never had less than I could handle. So it always was like one by one, because I was the only person who was actually like the charity project was actually me. So here I'm just starting now with the legal things, so I can't promote it yet. But what I can promote is that I believe with my story that writing out some things about hard experiences specifically helps to get rid of bad emotions, because in some way you separate yourself from this experience and it becomes just a text written, not a part of you that nobody knows about. No, this is like a text about your life, not you. You are bigger. So one part of my project was, and this is something that I can still support, is I ask people, invite them to send me their stories, and I post it on the account of my project Scar Positive. I have it now only in Spanish, but I have plenty of free time to start it in English too. So I think I want to develop it in this way, in whatever the language is. I can translate. So ask me in a year how how I'm promoting my project, because now I'm the start.
Beautiful. Well, final question. I'm always curious when people go through stuff, how it shapes their definition of success, because we live in a very success-oriented culture.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on success these days?
Success is to be happy, a happy person, to be honest. Like, yeah, of course, I also live in a corporate world, so I can't tell you that, no, like, I'm like a fairy girl that I live and I wake up with unicorns, and birds bring me some food. No, of course, I need to work, I need to make money, and of course, success, how to say, like, I understand success in the same way as people promote success. But at the end of the day, I never feel successful when I am not happy. And what makes me happy is a bunch of different things. But most of all, now in this moment of my life, it's being able to share my experience and to help people, because I believe that my life matters as long as I can receive information. That's my tattoo is about this: receiving information, transforming this information, and sharing with people who might find it useful. So success is this: everybody knows themselves. For somebody, it's a happy family, having dog, having some hobbies, but like everybody knows better what makes them happy. But success to me is be happy whatever the circumstances are. I told closing this question, I lived a week in Veracruz with a family, with a very, very poor family, but they were the happiest people I've seen in the last years, really, because they don't need much to be happy. And I find it's very appealing.
Beautiful. I think that's a great place to end it. Katya Komleva, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for inviting.
And we'll put all the information in the description and the show notes for people to be able to contact you and find information about Scar Positive.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Just FYI, we post a new video almost every day, so make sure you comment and subscribe below so you don't miss out on anything. And if you enjoyed this video, I think you're really going to love this one as well. And if you ever want to see a playlist of all of my podcasts or all of the plot twists or any other category of videos, you can find links to those in the description below.